All right. So my name's David from the YouTube channel Sound Epistemology, and I'm here with Trevor.
Yes.
Uh, how's your day going?
My day's going pretty well. How's yours?
Not too bad, especially on a day like this.
Yeah, nice and sunny, but not too crazy hot.
Awesome. Cool. So we've been talking a little bit behind the scenes here and built a little bit of rapport already. So I was hoping that you could help me with an experiment that I've been working on lately. Um, in addition to regular street epistemology, which is the practice of having somebody reflect on the quality of their reasoning that they use to support a certain level of confidence that something is true. It's basically an examination or an exploration of the sufficiency of the reasons and the reliability of the methods that somebody uses to assign a certain level of confidence in a claim that they think is true. Uh, and this time, I think it'd be fun to do what I call hidden claim street epistemology. So this is where I would have you think of something uh, that you're pretty confident in, something that you think is true, something that affects your behavior. So in other words, if you found out that it was not true tomorrow, your behavior would change. It's best if it's something meaningful to you, and it's best if you form it in a positive manner, meaning that instead of saying aliens are not real, you would say aliens are fake. So X is true instead of X is not true.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
Cool. So I'll give you a moment to think about something that you want to talk about whenever you're ready.
Um, and do you want me to say what it is, or?
No, I'm going to try to have you not reveal what the claim is.
Okay.
And I'm just going to ask you questions that focus on how you arrived at the conclusion and what supports your confidence that it's true. And your job is to answer as honestly as you can, but try to keep the claim hidden from me. And the purpose of that is not necessarily for me to be able to guess the claim, but this way it allows me to leave my bias out of it, and I can just focus on the epistemology part.
Okay. I think I
And
have an idea.
got it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions that have to do with your confidence on a scale from 0 to 100.
Okay.
So 0 confidence means that you have all questions, no confidence. 100 means all confidence, no questions.
Okay.
Okay. So on a scale from 0 to 100, if I were to let go of this very expensive microphone, what is your confidence on that scale that it would fall to the ground?
100.
100%?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So back to the claim that you were going to talk
Yes.
about, that we're going to explore. Okay. On that same scale, how confident are you that that claim is true?
About 70%.
70? Okay. Is there anything that could raise your confidence from 70 to say 80 or even higher than that?
Accomplishing. I was thinking about something that would have given it away.
Yeah, I guess that's a yes or no question. Like, is there anything that would raise your confidence? You don't have to
Yes.
necessarily name what it is, but do you have criteria that would cause your confidence in that claim to go up?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is there anything that would cause your confidence to go down?
I would probably also say yes to that. I think
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Okay. Is there a way to test to see if this claim is true?
There is. Um,
Can
Yeah.
you say anything about the test without revealing the claim?
it would pertain to the scope of human decency in comparison with the current state of probably the whole world.
Okay. Why is it a good test?
Because it evaluates accomplishments against goodness as opposed to an ideological view of one or the other. It's my opinion that there are people that dedicate their lives to accomplishing a certain number of things or accomplishing the largest amount of decency. And I don't think either extremes are the most effective for a functioning society. So that weighing mechanism evaluates some extremes that I think would get in the way of truth against each other.
Okay. Is there a way to tell if this claim was not true?
Yes. That one would be a little bit harder to not give it away, but there are examples that I can think of.
Okay. Couple more questions. You good on time?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Are you able to describe the main reason that supports your confidence without revealing what the claim is? If you can't describe it without revealing the claim, that's okay.
The fact that I am living a life with fairly predictable parameters.
The parameters of predictability in your life is the main reason that supports your confidence in this claim?
Yeah, not just the fact that I exist, but where I exist and the circumstances that surround that and my ability to change them by moving to different environments.
Okay. Could somebody use this reason to arrive at a false conclusion?
I think so, but I think it comes to a matter of quality of evidence of those parameters. So I might have some more exploring to do myself for how to get a more accurate definition, but I think there are observable actions that can be misinterpreted. I think there are at least three sides to most stories. There's the side of the people that were involved in it, there's the side of the people that witnessed it, and there's the side of what really happened, and all of those can be skewed by life experiences or by physical perspective in that moment. And for the same reasons, I think somebody could come to a false conclusion based on what I stated.
Okay. Are you still at the same confidence level that you started with? I think you said it was 70 or 80. Is that right?
70.
70. Are you still at 70?
I would say I'm probably always somewhere between 60 and 80%. Right now might be a little bit closer to the 60%, but this is a concept that I've thought about quite a bit.
Okay, great. Awesome. I really appreciate you helping me with that experiment. Do you have any questions for me?
You're clearly passionate about epistemology. What do you find intriguing about it, and what do you enjoy sharing about it?
I enjoy giving the members of my community a space for them to explore how they arrive at conclusions, because our beliefs affect our behavior, and that affects the rest of us. And so I think it's important for our community members to have a good grasp on how they come to conclusions, because I think if that's better, then we can make better decisions about what affects the rest of us.
That's interesting, and I agree.
Cool. Did you want to reveal your claim? You don't have to, but it'd be interesting to find out what it was.
my guess?
Yeah,
Is that okay?
sure.
Yeah, I was listening to that. That was fascinating, by the way. Is the claim something about the values that we have in the society, like freedom or free press, or something about a constitutive value that we have in the society?
It is. I was especially thinking about utilitarianism as a weighing mechanism for society. It seems to be something that's favored in media and discussion and design quite a bit. And so I found it interesting, especially since the pandemic, seeing some of the values that both myself and others base their well, I think utilitarianism in particular is interesting because not only is it a perspective on how things already are, but it's a perspective into the future. It's a perspective on the right way to manufacture a life into the future for oneself and for a society. And I think that there are some specific values that have been called into question, and some specific values that should be questioned further, and some specific values that have been further reinforced.
Do you feel like you have a better understanding of your epistemology about this claim?
I think I have, yeah, I would say I have a better understanding of, yeah, especially some more questions that I need to, some focus to my confusion. Because I think any worldview that one bases their decisions on or bases their entire life on is going to be called into question by themselves and by others, and it's often confusing because there's a lot of evidence that one can find both to support and to deny their own claims. So I'm excited to challenge myself further.
Cool. Any other feedback about the way that the talk went?
No, I think it was a good idea, and I'm intrigued to see some more of your content.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
It was great.
Dude, that was excellent. Okay, so that was fascinating to me. So let me give you the context for this. So I'm trying to put it on myself. I'm trying to do as much experimentation as I can. I'm trying to, like, the Spectrum Street Epistemology game, Cousins of Street Epistemology, Nathan's The Hidden Box. I don't know if you know that. The Magic Box, we did that today. The Magic Envelope, I'm still not sure I figured that out. But what you've done today is fascinating. I mean, did you come up with Hidden Claim Street Epistemology?
Yeah, it comes from the pyramid where we have what's most important in an SE conversation, where the very top of the pyramid is the what, and what's supporting that is the why. Why do you believe it? And then the how is, how did you figure out that that was a good reason to believe something? And so I was interested in exploring how little does the what matter? Can I do a productive street epistemology conversation without even knowing the what?
That's fascinating, dude. That's just fascinating to me. So I was trying to do this and I didn't do too well at it. So what questions do you ask?
I ask questions that try to focus on the epistemology. So the confidence, what would raise your confidence? What would lower your confidence? How could we test this? How do we find out if it's not true? Are there ways to find out if it's the same questions, but if you don't know what the claim is, you can't inject your own bias. It could help with somebody that has a tendency to bloviate or preach a lot, because if they're trying to keep the claim hidden, they don't have as much freedom to ramble on and on and on and on about it.
I like that when you said to the last fellow over there, I like when you asked him, could someone use the same reasoning to arrive at a different conclusion? I've asked that, but only after I've known that the same reasoning could absolutely help one. But I've never asked someone that not knowing the claim.
Yeah, you don't need to know the claim to explore somebody's epistemology about the claim. In fact,
That's just amazing to me.
Sometimes it gets
yeah.
in the way. Sometimes The answers can be a lot shorter too, because they're trying to
Right.
avoid rambling on about the idea itself, which isn't as important in this context as how you got there. Why is this a good way to get somewhere?
Okay, so can we do a hidden? Can I hand you the mic?
Sure.
Can we do one?
Yeah. Do you want to?
I'll think of a hidden claim.
Okay.
I'll think of a claim.
Okay. So I'm
Uh,
interviewing you. If
got the
yeah.
claim.
Okay. All right. So on that scale, 0 to 100, how confident are you that when I drop the mic, it's going to fall to the ground? And this is to calibrate what 100 means to you, or what
Yeah.
90 means to you, or
99% sure.
99. Okay. So you're open to the possibility that the mic will not fall to the ground if I let it go.
Correct.
Okay. All right. How confident are you in your claim, your specific claim? Same scale, 0 to 100.
70%.
70? Okay. Are you able to describe the main reason that gets you to 70 without revealing what the claim is? If you can't, that's okay.
Yes.
We have other ways. You're able to?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the main reason that supports your 70% confidence in this?
Empirical evidence.
Empirical evidence? Okay.
Sorry about that.
What do you mean by empirical evidence?
I've seen other people do it.
Okay. Is there anything that could get you from 70 to 80?
Yes.
Are you able to tell us what would get you from 70 to 80 without revealing the claim?
If I won the lottery.
Okay. What would lower your confidence?
If I got injured.
Okay.
Serious injury.
If you were injured seriously, like say on the
By a
way,
bus.
if you got hit by a bus 10 minutes from now, your confidence in this claim would go down.
Dramatically.
Okay. Is there a way to test this claim to see if it's true?
My God. Oh, to see if it's true. Yeah, if you had a time machine. See if if you could fast forward in 10 years from now, not even 10. 6 years from now, and see.
Is there a test that we could perform, you and I, to see if this claim that you're 70% confident in is true?
No.
Okay. So you're 70% confident in a claim that we cannot test?
Because I have empirical evidence having watched others do it.
Okay. Why is that a good reason to believe something?
Because the people who do it aren't particularly special. They're from all walks of life. They do have a commonality, though, and they don't suffer they haven't suffered any egregious bodily injuries long-term that affect their long-term prospects.
Okay. So my first question would be, are you still at 70? Now that we've gone through this?
Yes, but it's a huge but. My confidence in the 70 is greatly decreased, if that makes sense. In other words, it could be higher or lower after thinking about it with these questions.
You have more ways now to think about your confidence in it? Is that kind of what you're saying?
I'm not very confident in my 70%.
Okay.
Whereas before I was more confident in my 70%.
Got it. Okay. Cool. Anything else?
I think there's just so much potential here to do this, to develop this. I was thinking, Reed and I were trying it last night, and I think it would help tremendously if you knew the domain in which the claim fell. Is it a prediction? Is it an empirical claim?
Is it a normative claim?
Yeah. Is it a moral claim? Is it, what like if you knew that, you could, I think, better target the questions.
What would have been a question that I should have asked?
Yeah, now that's a great question. Like if people ask that question at the end of each of these, that's how you get really good at this. Without knowing the claim.
Based on your advice about knowing the category of claim.
Yeah, are there because you said find something in your life that's meaningful to me. Are there internal conditions in your life, independent of your physical well-being, that would cause you to recalibrate the confidence in your claim?
Okay, so well-being, bringing well-being. If I knew the category of your claim,
Because my claim isn't a moral one.
okay.
So that
do you want to
means-
share what the claim is?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this, and Reed is probably either going to recoil in horror or roll his eyes, or drop to the ground in hysterics, but that I will get my black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu before I die.
Interesting. So, okay, so that's like a prediction. That's not necessarily a truth claim, right?
Yeah, it's a prediction. That's why I said I think it would be helpful, because I wasn't sure if that was a good claim to do with this.
Yeah.
But when you said, so my ideas are never personal to me. So when you said make it something that's like personal to you, ideas just aren't personal to me. Just stuff I like to think about. They have no meaning detached from my trafficking in the world.
I may have failed to say something that you think is true, or something that you're.
Yeah, well, it would have applied. I think there's a 70% chance that it will happen if I work hard enough. If I win the lottery, then I can literally, that's all I will do with myself. I can't imagine anything internal to me would change. I'd have to be injured for it not to be the case anymore. Or something external would have to happen.
Got it. And so,
But I think that like the category of thing there, like that's a prediction. Whereas if I were to say like, because the other one I was thinking of picking was the U.S. should fully arm the Ukrainians. I was thinking of picking that one, but I thought that wouldn't. I was trying to kind of get out of the political realm, and it wasn't. I guess it's personal to me in a sense, but it's not, as a buddy of mine calls it, experience near versus experience far. And the Ukrainian thing is a moral atrocity and is experience far. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing isn't even moral, maybe I guess a tiny bit, but it's experience near.
well, maybe we can talk about the Ukrainian situation next time.
Yeah, I just have to say, I just find that hidden claim, I just think that's so interesting, and I think it's so ripe with potential. I'm just trying to think of how to refine it more.
Yeah, I could add something like, is this something that you think is going to happen?
Like,
is this something?
Yeah. It would. And I'm just spitballing here. It could be totally. I think it would need to. Like, if you knew the category, the broad category, then you would know. Or maybe a question could be, is this something you want to happen? To figure out if there's a desirability bias.
Yeah, I think that after having this discussion, I would probably just try to focus on them picking something that is a knowledge claim, is a claim about what they think is true about the reality that we share.
I have something I've been thinking about.
Okay, so you want to do another one?
Yeah, it's just a moral claim.
A moral claim? Okay. All right. So where are you at on the scale for this claim?
59%.
59? What does 59% mean right now?
Pretty sure. Maybe 60%, something like that. But in no way am I confident in it.
Okay.
I think it's more likely to be true than not. But I'm not very confident in that.
Are you able to share the main reason that gets you to 59 without revealing the claim?
Once I stopped thinking about what the society thinks and what kind of a person it would make me to believe this, and I started to actually think about the issue and isolate the issue and be truly ruthlessly honest with myself about the issue, I came to that number. Like I tried to filter out all the static.
Okay, so
So social taboos were what prevented me from going up before.
okay, and focusing on it more and trying to eliminate the static around it, that's the main reason that supports your confidence in the claim being true to a level of 59%.
Allowing myself to honestly reason through it without that reasoning being mediated by anything else.
Okay, so trying to get a more objective view, objective view.
A more honest view without social stuff interfering with the reasoning process.
Okay, so like eliminating a certain bias. Would that be
Not
accurate?
allowing social biases to play into it. Just saying, okay, I'm not going to listen to any of this stuff, and I'm just going to really try to honestly and sincerely think through this question using the best available evidence.
Okay. How much does that reason support the 59% confidence?
It's less a reason and more of a condition. It was a condition that prevented me from arriving at the 59 in the first place.
Okay.
So you asked me.
So it's
what is
something
my
that needs to
reason
happen for.
in order to think honestly about the question. You just can't listen to what people in the society say about it. You just have to be. You just cannot listen, or you would never get over 1%.
Okay. So this reason, why is this a good reason? Why is this a good reason to?
It's not a reason at all. I'll give you a reason. I think that a combination of things, aggregate benefit to the society, aggregate benefit really even to the individuals, economic benefit, social benefit, all of those things are contributory reasons.
And you said that this was a moral claim?
Yes.
Okay. What's the best way to go about examining your epistemology about a moral claim?
Well, there are many ways. I don't know if there's a one best one, but there are a lot of ones. Like, see if it's based on reliable evidence. See if there are any contradictions within it. See if it's see if you can come up with disconfirmation criteria. There's just a lot of reasons, a lot of ways.
Is there a test that we could perform right now to find out if this moral claim is likely true or not likely true?
Well, some aspects of the claim are immediately evident and obvious. So, thinking about it without shackles on for 2 seconds, not even a second, would yield the result.
Could somebody use that method and arrive at a false conclusion?
No, but someone could use that method and weigh variables differently as a consequence. Like, they could care about other things more. Like, what does it say about society? Or how would other people look at us? Or something like that. But they could not use the method and come to another conclusion.
Okay. Do you have criteria that would raise your confidence from 59 to 65, say, or even higher?
Yeah, if it were actually implemented, and then I looked at the results.
Okay. Is there anything that would lower your confidence?
Yeah, if it were implemented, I looked at the results, and it turned out in ways that I can't quite foresee now to be negative.
Do you want this to be true?
Probably not. No.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Do you have a better understanding of your epistemology on this particular claim now that we've kind of talked about it more deeply?
It's always good to have someone ask you questions externally as opposed to you just thinking through it. Ideally, you'd think through it, then someone asks you questions, then you'd think through it, then someone would ask you questions again. I've read Peter Singer's arguments about it. I've read arguments against it. Katie Feder. I've read arguments. Nobody is arguing on one side except Peter Singer because everyone's terrified of the taboo. And every time I've tried to, this is an example of a class you could never teach at a university, a question you could never ask. It is one of the most taboo topics. It's so taboo, it's not even talked about. It's not even entertained seriously by anybody in the society.
Okay. Are you still at 59?
Do you know what it is?
Are you still at 59?
I think I'm at 60. 60, 61, 60, I would say.
Cool. Yeah, that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You know what the claim is, Reed?
Something to do about low IQ people.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah, what should we do with the
I thought you
IQs
were
of
going to
people
say
below
something about
25?
incest. When you said taboo, I was like,
No, this is more taboo than that.
wow. Okay.
Way more taboo than that.
IQ, yeah.
People who have IQs under 25,
What was the claim exactly? What
Yeah.
should we do?
kill them
Kill them.
or allow them to just die. Not force feed them anymore because they have to be force fed.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have enough wherewithal to feed themselves.
How did you come up with 25?
I didn't come up with 25. Peter Singer came up with 25.
Okay.
At 25, there's nobody home.
Right,
There are
right.
lights out.
What's the difference between 25 and 26?
I'm not an expert. I don't know. I would imagine virtually nothing. But at 25, it's for sure there's nobody inside.
Is 25 like a specific number
Yes.
that is agreed by the
I
community?
believe so,
Okay.
yeah. I believe that's the line.
Okay.
Whereas 26, you may be able to wipe your ass. I don't know.
Yeah.
You may be able to go put a piece of food in your mouth, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But at 25, there's no one with an IQ of 25 or below can do any of that.
Yeah.
They're basically a living vegetable.
Yeah.
I don't know if we use the word vegetable anymore or what it is, but basically, yeah.
This was fun. I'm glad we came down.
Thank you, everybody, for coming and doing this game with me. This is a critical thinking game. It's a thought exercise. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to think of something in your head, and this is a belief that you have. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being this is absolutely false, I don't believe it. 5 being maybe. 7 being I'm pretty sure this is true. 10 being I'm abso-freaking-lutely sure this is true. Find something that's between, say, 5.5 and 10. So something you believe. At no point in this should you tell me what that is. So just always keep it in your head. I'm not going to guess it. The goal is not to guess it. Think of the thing in your head. Try to express it as a single sentence in your head. You have it? Okay, take your time. It could be about anything. It could be about politics. It can be about psychology, sexuality, friendship. It can be about the environment, the war. It can be about anything. Technology. You have one?
I do.
Okay, you got one? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do. So, write down at the top on that, using that same scale of 1 to 10, write down how confident you are. What is your confidence level? Just write it down, but don't say the belief. Just write a number down.
The number.
Yeah. Okay. Now this is a little tricky question, and if the English is tricky, let me know. How confident are you that that is accurate? That the 8 is accurate? Are you
Accurate
like,
for me or the society or?
no, like in your opinion, so you wrote an 8 for whatever the belief is. And I don't know what the belief is, right? I don't know what anybody's believing. How sure are you that you should be at 8 and not,
Oh, I see.
yeah,
At 7 or
yeah. Write the percentage below that. Okay. All right. All right. So now we're going to play a game. At any point in this game, you can either tell me you don't want to play anymore, and then you can stop playing. And you can change the number on the top. So you can go to 9 or 10, or you can go down to 1. You can change at any point in the game. Okay, but just don't tell me the claim. Okay. So you have a belief in your head that you can express as a sentence. You're 8 out of 10 confident, which means you're pretty confident but not absolutely positive. Okay. Think about the best reason you have for believing that. Get that in your head. The best reason you have for believing that. Don't tell me what it is.
Okay,
Just
well,
think about it.
1 second. Okay, I think I have it.
Okay. If we took that away, what would your number be? No, you don't have to write it down.
No.
Just tell me. Just tell me. What?
0.
It would be 0. Okay. So your reason for being an 8 is completely dependent on one single reason. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
This is getting complicated.
Okay. If you have any questions,
Okay.
especially if this is not your first language, I got that. So just ask me and we'll slow it down.
Okay.
So just to repeat, if we took the main reason away that you're at 8, you would go to 0.
I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Can somebody else use that reason, the same reason that you have, but instead of getting to an 8, get to a 5, a 6, a 7, a 9, or a 10? They could.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
So let's say that somebody used that reason and concluded 6 for whatever the belief is. Could you be in a position to say they're wrong?
I have to just decide if they are wrong or not, or we can have a debate to discuss.
Well, if he uses the same reasoning that got you to 8 and says, no, it shouldn't be 8, it should be, I don't know, 6. It should be 6. Is he wrong? Could he be wrong?
I mean, he could, but that's his opinion.
Okay. So then that must mean that the 8 is just your opinion.
Yes.
Okay. So you're using that reason that you have is just an opinion. Okay. So there's nothing objectively true about the reason. It's just you're making it it's personal to you.
Yes, mainly.
Okay. So if it's personal to you, then other people could use the same reason to come up with a different number. Okay.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, so then how do you know that you're justified in the 8 at 90%? Shouldn't it be like below 50%? Mm-hmm. It would have to be below 50%, wouldn't it?
Well, if I was I don't know how to express it, like a person who relies on statistics and logic purely in my life, then I would say yes, that's logical to think like that, as you said.
Right.
But people have fears, feelings, intuitions. So that's what makes my sentence an 8.
Okay. If you were born in a different family and used that single reason again, would you might not be an 8?
No. I mean, I would still be an 8.
Oh, you would still be an 8?
Yes, I
Okay.
think so.
Okay. So I just want to be clear about this to make sure I understand. Somebody else can use the same reasoning and arrive at a different number, and you could or could not say they're wrong?
I couldn't.
You couldn't. So I guess I'm unclear then why your confidence is at 90%. If somebody else could use that reasoning to conclude 8, to conclude 7 or 9.
I'm getting lost.
Okay. This is complicated.
Where is this going?
This is very complicated.
Yes, it is.
It's very complicated. He uses the reason that you have to get to an 8.
Mm-hmm.
And he concludes it's only 6. How do you know?
Was,
yeah.
This number was how
Confident you are.
okay. How confident I am in my opinion about this sentence.
Right.
Yes. Okay. I understand. Yes.
Okay. So if he uses that reasoning and concludes a 6, and you can't tell him he's wrong, then why? How do you know 8 is the right number?
It's a feeling. It's an intuition.
Have your intuitions or feelings ever been incorrect?
Incorrect. No.
They've never been incorrect. No. Really?
I'm a woman.
Wow. That's remarkable. Your intuitions have never been correct. That's a good skill.
Yet.
I wish I possessed that skill.
Should be a woman.
I know. Well, that's another conversation. Conversation for another day. Okay, so I'm going to conclude for a second, but I just want to say, I don't know what it is that you're thinking about. Can you think of the main reason that you could be wrong? What would it take? Just don't tell me. But what would it take to get you to a 7 or a 9?
That's a tough question. I don't know.
And that's okay. I don't know is a great answer.
I don't know what could be. Yeah.
Just a second. Can we stop?
Yeah.
I have to change this battery.
So we'll jump to the end. Are you satisfied with the 8?
Do you mean I could be more confident
Or
in
less?
a sentence or less?
Or do you think the 8 is where you should be after thinking about it?
I'm gonna stick with 8.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you confident with the 90%?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. You have completed the exercise. You can use that at any time. And do you see how when I don't know and nobody knows what it is, you can think more freely without social constraint? You don't have to worry about peer pressure. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, what is this guy going to think if I... No, you can just think through anything with this. Mm-hmm. You ready? All right, we're going to do the same game. 9. Okay. Right below that, write a percentage. How confident are you that the 9 is where you should be? %. That's pretty. That's
Accurate.
That's pretty. You're right. That's pretty specific. Wow, that's pretty accurate. Okay. Okay, so let's go through this together. So, just to be clear about the 9, you're 9 confident that this is true. So that means you're extremely confident, but not positive.
Yeah, I'm extremely confident with that argument.
First question, same one I asked you. Think of the main reason you have for believing that. You got it?
Yeah.
When you take it away, what number are you?
It will remain the same because it's mainly a belief which not proved yet.
But you have a reason for believing that, right?
Yeah.
So let's make that vanish. Let's make that go away. Let's delete that reason. That reason no longer exists in this universe. What's the number?
It also would remain the same because it's about the future proclamation that something would change something, and we don't know from previous experience what effect would it be, but my belief just says that it would happen in that way. So if we just take away that argument,
Yeah,
it's
if you
even
take away that argument, what are you left with? What do you have?
Would it still be 9?
be the
That's
same
question,
one.
Would it still be 9?
Yeah.
It would still be 9. So then the reason that you are at a 9 has nothing to do with the reason you just gave me.
There are many kind of like varieties
Okay.
to cooperate with this argument. I mean that if we just take away that reason, there are many kind of minor arguments to have
Okay.
with profit.
So when you take away the main reason you have for believing that, you're still a 9.
Yeah.
So what if you take away the next reason? What would you be? You'd probably still be at a 9, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then the reason that your strength of belief is at a 9 must have nothing to do with reasons. Because when you take away those reasons, you're still at a 9. So those reasons must not factor into your being at a 9. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So there's something else that must factor into you being a 9. What is the thing that factors into you being a 9? It's not reason. So what would it be?
Maybe they are part of beliefs, which is the main element. That beliefs are not just from proof, or not from proof, but as Kata mentioned, many kind of feelings, maybe
feelings.
positive or negatives.
Okay.
But yeah,
So your feelings get you to a 9.
yeah, because it's a future proclamation, and thus it gives a kind of uncertainty which can be filled with emotions.
So could somebody else have feelings that lead them to a 2?
Yeah, maybe they are lack of information which can affect them in emotion as well.
But a lack of information would be a reason and not a feeling.
Yeah, but it will affect emotion. That's why they are lack of emotion.
Okay, so let me ask you this question then. If you only had feelings and no reason, no evidence, no proof, nothing, what number would you be?
It will be 4 because
You'd be 4.
because it will be because I also every time I try to be build on fundamental provings on reasons.
Okay. So what gets you to the 9? It's not reason, is it evidence?
Evidence, reason, proofs, the rational ones, and 4 is the emotion package. So 9 is from.
Did you understand that?
And
Yeah, he actually made a big difference between mind and heart, actually, no?
Yeah, so say that again. So he made a big difference between mind and heart.
consciousness and unconsciousness, as what Freud said. Yeah.
I guess my question, and I have 2 questions. Are you sure that you've balanced your reason and emotion correctly to come out to a 9?
No. I think that this argument is really based on the emotional side. That I mean that in an average decision, I would take less emotions and more proofs. So, thinking about another argument, which would be taking away the reasons, it would affect and decrease in a more efficient way. I mean that from 9 it would take 5 or less.
Okay.
Because there in that decision, emotions have got.
Okay. Let me ask you, can I ask how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 20.
20?
Yeah.
In 30, if you were 30 and you could go to the future and look back, if I asked a 30-year-old you, what would that number be?
It depends on which proof I get. As I said, it's a future proclamation. Maybe it decrease as my negative experiences would change it to a 7. But if I got more proof, it would be maybe up to 10.
Okay, and last, just very quick, last couple questions. Can you think of a way in your head, without telling me, can you think of a way, something I could say to you or a piece of information that you could be revealed to you that would lead you to an 8 or a 10?
Yeah, of course, as you mentioned, maybe I can reveal that fact throughout ages as I go up for the 30s. And maybe you've got an information for that,
Right.
because it's mainly an emotion-based decision or thing. If you get more evidence, it can affect it.
So and then this is the last question. So if you're 20, if you think back to your 15, your emotions have changed and your feelings about things have changed, right?
Yeah.
So if they've changed in the last 5 years, it's reasonable to assume that if you project outward to your 25 or 30, they would change still. So if that's the case, then it's like a C. It's your emotions aren't stable, right? They change over
Unstable, yeah.
time. So if they change over time, shouldn't that 87 be lower?
Yeah, I guess that in my 15s, it was all numbers was decreased. And as I go up with reasoning, more conscious thinking, it's just grew up also in the numbers.
Okay. All right. So the final question is, are you satisfied that a 9 is what you should be and an 87%, you're 87% confident that that's correct?
Yeah, I'm satisfied with that, but I just look forward for the future, but if it will be proved or not.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right, but you're confident that you're thinking about this issue clearly and accurately, and that your confidence, which is a lower number, is correctly calibrated to the strength of your belief. This is, in other words, you're pretty confident this is correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you like that?
Yes.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
I'm very curious what you are thinking.
Yeah, you don't have to tell us. If you want to tell us, you can tell us. If you don't want to tell us, you don't have to tell us.
No, I mean that firstly, I was just want to demonstrate that we can't even just argue on facts and reasons because it's a belief. But my argument was sorry. Well, my argument was an abstract one that it depends on it connects to my belief or religion. I mean that it was that with Christianity, if everybody just follows the rules, it can be a civilizational upgrade for everybody. I mean that it's a future proclamation. We have got some reasons and proofs from
the past,
but it's not enough.
Huh. Okay. Did you want to?
That was interesting because you not only on the final belief, but even on the way of reasoning. I guess you come from different schools there.
Yeah.
You and him.
Yeah.
I guess like the importance you give to feelings is close
Yeah,
to
almost
maximum 2%, I would
Yeah.
say. And for him, it was actually much more important.
Yeah.
But you were able to have a rational discussion about it.
Right. And I think what's interesting is if I knew what it was, my tendency would become harder at it. And if he knew that I was an atheist, he might dig down maybe to go up with this number. And so the fact that I didn't know what it was, and he knew that I didn't know what it was, makes it much easier for him to be honest about the reasoning process. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Last one, you ready? All right, you're up.
Oh, and I even got the green one.
You got the green one. So
Amazing.
you know the rules, 1 to 10. How strongly do you believe something at the top? And then how confident are you that, wow, there's a man with great confidence. Oh my gosh.
I would be
You're
really
at
thinking
10
about it.
and 100%.
Correct.
Wow. Okay, so we need to talk about this because
Yes.
this is very interesting to me. So if you're telling me, and I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. If I've misunderstood you, let
Same
me know.
for me. Same
Okay.
for me. Correct.
So you're telling me that you have a belief that you're absolutely positive about, and you're positive that in fact, you're positive that your confidence is justified.
Correct.
Okay. So is there any evidence that you could be given to knock you down from a 10?
Evidence? No. I wouldn't be sure about that.
Okay. So just to be clear, so there's no evidence that you could be given that would take you away from, knock you off a 10 to like a 9.5.
So basically, I'm in a classroom with people, and there's one person just barging into the room and saying, "This is the number one thing that will change your mind." I would look him in the eye. I would say, "Yes, I understand it, but still, this
Okay.
is the 100%."
Okay, so now
And the 10.
let me be blunt with you. You know the expression, English expression, blunt? Okay.
Yep, correct.
That means that the belief, whatever, I don't know what, nobody knows what the belief is. You haven't told them, have you?
No.
Okay. So that means that the belief you hold is not based on evidence. Because if it were based on evidence, there would have to be a piece of evidence that could come in that would knock you off of 10.
Yep, it's not based on evidence, I would say.
Okay, it's not based on evidence. So that means that the confidence to get you there has to be based upon something other than evidence.
Correct.
Okay, what is the thing? What is that thing? Is it revelation? Is it feelings? Is it I don't even know what it would be. What
No.
would it be?
So there is one would say that there is a religious aspect, and
Okay.
there is I don't know the English word. What is the opposite of religious? This is an argument where religious and secular people tend to argue a lot about.
Okay.
But I would say that both of them would come to the same conclusion, maybe from a different angle. But both sides would be able to be at 10 and 100% about this topic.
Wow, that's really interesting to me. So if I were to walk around, I don't know what the belief is, but if I took the piece of paper and I had her to write it in Hungarian, and I started walking around and saying this to people, would they be a 10 too? In other words, how common is it that people will believe this absolutely?
I believe that in most of the conversations, people would be swinging from, let's say, 7 to 10. I would say that even those people who would be frustrated and would feel not terrified, but they would be shocked about this topic itself, they would be extremely sure that there is some truth to this thing. They wouldn't be 100% sure, but they would be at least 6 or 7.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. Let's say I walked up to her and I wrote whatever it is down and I handed it to her and I said, well, how confident are you that this is true? And she said to me, on a scale from 1 to 10, I am at max 4. Would she be wrong?
Yes.
If you explained to her how she was wrong, would she change her mind?
And she may not change her mind, but this is one thing that we all inherently feel, and I use the word feel because, let's say, religious people would argue that from a God-given perspective, this thing is justified. From a secular point of view, it would be your own spirit that would say that this is actually right.
Okay, so I'm trying to avoid knowing what the claim is. I don't want to know it. So what if we went to, like, I don't know, China or like, I don't know, Ecuador?
And I would add something else to it. Even if we would look at historical terms,
Yeah.
people would think about this theme, about this sentence, and they would say, I may disagree with this one. And they, according to their beliefs, may be right. But this is something that if we all look at it from a societal perspective, we see that this is clearly wrong. Or this is clearly, this sentence, which I would say, or which I don't say.
Yeah.
But let's say if we look at Sparta, or if we look at Nazi Germany, or if we look at an ideal utopia where everyone believes this thing. This is a cross-generational, cross-historical truth which people would like to neglect or consciously neglect. But deep down we all know that this is something that is right.
That is right or is true?
True. True. And that's correct. That's the crucial one. It's true, but people would say that it's right, not right.
And okay. And so if someone says it's false, and that's not based upon evidence, and if someone says that's false, will evidence convince them that it's true?
No, because if we look at historical terms, people have very solid foundation to believe the opposite of what I'm claiming. And they have all the right to do so, actually.
Sure.
But I would like to use the word objective. If we look at objectively about this sentence, everyone, literally everyone would say that this is something that is true. But based on my historical background, based on my societal background, I would say that I give myself the permission to believe the opposite of this thing, because it is out of necessity. It is I think necessity is crucial. I must believe the opposite, otherwise the truth would crush me.
Fascinating. Okay, that's interesting. Do you have any questions for him about this?
What is the sentence?
Well, not yet. Do you have any questions?
Okay, then I don't have questions. I'm just curious of the sentence because it was so shocking, the things he said.
Yeah, it's pretty out there. Yeah,
No.
Just a question for you all. Is there something about which you would feel the same way?
I'm not
Anything?
sure.
Not sure.
Not sure.
So there are the beliefs in your life, the rules according to which you live your life, and there is not one thing which just is one axiom, one eternal truth in yourself. Nothing.
Might be, but through all history, that sounds strange.
I would say that through all history, I would say that if we look at objectively at this sentence, we would say that, yes, this is true, but because of the necessity I have, because of those things, I do the exact opposite of this sentence. And basically, a society which would totally neglect this would collapse, I would dare to say.
Wow. Okay, well, all right, well, you don't have to tell us if you don't want to. If you want to tell us, I'm dying to know what it is, but there's no, I really want you to know, there's no obligation for you to tell us what it is. You're cool.
I'm going to leave a cliffhanger because that's even
Okay,
better. And I want, and the exact reason why I want to think about this is that people could even say that I am devoted to this belief. But the reason why I would encourage people to have this thing is that we need axioms in our life. And my father used to tell me about these things. There are a certain set of beliefs in one's life, and imagine it as bricks that make up an entire house. And you can only, at a certain point, remove and add bricks. Because after a certain point, one layer, if that layer changes, the entire house collapses. And one of the problems of our society is that we would like to change houses entirely and quickly, which is not sustainable and not acceptable. And this thing I have is something that is my cornerstone, and this is, I would believe, a universal cornerstone. And if we would remove this cornerstone entirely, our whole society would collapse. But those who would follow the same logic with me for this one step at a time, we could start laying the foundations of a, let's say, I would use a more empathetic society, people feeling more empathy. But just this thing alone is something that would be very important for us all.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for participating. Oh, do you want to? Can you have time to do one?
Yeah, but I can
appreciate it.
tell you,
What is
I
it?
had two sentences in mind.
Okay.
Either is abortion is murder,
Okay.
or killing someone is wrong. Because if you look at killing is wrong. So it is out of the
human.
original.
Killing a human.
Killing, yeah. No, I would say that even killing is wrong. And it is our perception that, for example, okay, if you kill a fly, I mean, you take a man's value, that's a life. If you kill a fly, it's a life. But of course, you wouldn't say the same difference because you have some emotional attachment to it or you have all the sorts
Right.
of reasons. But if you objectively look at it, it's murder. Or if you look at Sparta, they voluntarily killed people because it was a necessity. Weak people wouldn't have sustained society. But for yourself to realize that if you look at abortion, for example, killing a life is problematic. But if you were raped, of course, it's reasonable for you to say that you would like to abort this because it's such a big trauma. And that's a big problem about abortion because two things can be true at the same time. You being raped and you feeling safe is important, and you doing this is justified. You killing someone is justified. Is it wrong? Yes. It's complicated. It's also true. The way we think about murder, that's a thing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for playing. I appreciate it.